everyone. Thanks for joining us in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. United States snowboarder and Olympic athlete Ty Walker is joining us via Skype. Ty, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How's it going?
Good. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a busy year for you. You've been traveling and competing. So just want to start off by saying thank you. And how you feeling? How you doing?
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm doing well. I'm just coming back from a trip from New Zealand. I was there for 2 weeks competing in a World Cup, and it was a great trip. So just kind of getting over the jet lag and trying to readjust to being on the East Coast.
Yeah, no kidding. That's a very long trip. So glad that that went well. So wanted to talk to you a little bit about your competition, your training, and of course you do have ties to New England. You're a New England gal from Stowe, Vermont, and you of course have that Rhode Island connection. Student at Brown University, taking a little bit of a break as you train. So we'll get to that. But we wanted to, of course, talk to you about that. So let's talk about your trip competing in New Zealand. Talk to us a little bit about the competition. How did it feel to be out there as you're kind of gearing up to Olympic trials?
So the competition in New Zealand actually was a little bit less stressful for the U.S. athletes than it is for other countries, other competitors. In New Zealand, we had a World Cup, and essentially going into the Olympics, the World Cup tour is a way for the Olympic organization to decide how many spots each country is going to get for the Olympics. So, at the end of the tour, if they're going to send 30 girls to the Olympics, they look at the top 30 ranking on the World Cup list and they say, okay, there's 3 athletes from Switzerland. We're going to send, 3 people from Switzerland. There's 2 Americans. We're going to send 2 Americans, etc. So typically in other countries, the people that qualify those spots get the spots. So, someone from Great Britain is out there like really trying to get a great result so that they can end up in the top 30 and then go to the Olympics. For the US though, because we're so competitive, there are going to be usually like 6 people in the top 30 and they can only send 4. So for the US, they look at just the athletes getting a spot and not the specific person. So they'll say, okay, there are 4 Americans in the top 30, we can send 4 Americans, but we're going to have a qualification later on to determine which 4 athletes are actually going to be the 4 athletes we choose. So, it is a little bit competitive for the other people who are qualifying a spot for themselves personally versus us. We're just cheering on our teammates and hoping that the U.S. as a whole gets, 4 people in there. So it was fun. It was a great trip. It's a little bit difficult being there in the middle of the summer for sure. We don't spend a lot of time on snow like leading up to the event. But it's always such a great time. It's so beautiful down there, and it's one of my favorite places to go.
Well, that's nice to be able to get some insight. Definitely a long trip, but always good to not have so much stress, maybe not as much pressure as you are gearing up for qualifications. Talk to us just a little bit about what's on your mind. You've been nominated to the U.S. ski and snowboard team for 2017-2018, the slopestyle team. And you still have to qualify to head to the Olympics. Just talk to us a little bit about your goals and kind of what's on your mind.
My biggest goal, obviously, for this season is to qualify for the Olympics. This year, the U.S. team is very competitive. We have multiple X Games gold medalists, X Games podium athletes. We have the last Olympic gold medalist. So it's a really stacked field, and just to be able to qualify for the team is going to be tough. We have only 4 spots, and we do have a lot of really great riders. So, like I was saying, we have 6 or 7 athletes in that top 30 that would be competitive enough to go, but they can only send 4. So it's going to be a battle to get there. And then I think anyone from the U.S. that does qualify is going to be someone to watch at the Olympics. Like, it's just so competitive in the U.S. that when you get to the Olympics, like, anybody that is able to go is going to be someone to watch at the Olympics as well on the international scale. So I hope that, I'm feeling great riding. I hope that I'm healthy this season. And I hope to make that team and then obviously, compete my best in South Korea.
Yeah, so you just mentioned feeling healthy. So you did fight. You had some injuries in 2016 for the past about year or so. Talk to us just about how you've gotten your body back into that healthy state.
So for my sport, there's a lot of plyometrics involved. We're always jumping. We're always doing these like really fine-tuned movements when we're doing a trick on a jump or on a rail. Rails specifically are a lot of like really small muscle movements, trying to stay balanced and do all your tricks. So um, I would say that, coming back from injury, first there's the whole rehab phase where you can't really do much except for just try to build your baseline strength and, work on that area, getting strong again. So I had to do that both with my knee after I tore my ACL and with my back after I had compression fractures on two of my vertebrae in my back. So yeah, once you finish up the strengthening phase, then you kind of go into really something. Plyometrics isn't something that stays with you no matter what. It's something that, for me at least, I have to constantly be working on. So usually when I'm injured, coming back is hard because, you've lost a lot of the progress that you've made. And, I'm always in the gym trying to do some circuits and just try to really build that explosive energy. And the longer I spend and the more time that I spend practicing, the better that I feel going into the winter. So that's where I'm at right now. I actually just went to the gym and then came back, and now I'm here for the interview.
Let me ask you this, is it tough coming back from an injury? I mean, I can't imagine what it feels like to injure your back, to tear up your knee. When you're back out there on the slopes, does it get into your head to know that you've had these injuries, or are you just out there making a decision like, yeah, I'm going for this?
I mean, I think it always does play a little bit in the back of your mind. At this point, I'm pretty far removed from my knee injury. When I was first coming back from my knee injury, it was more difficult for me to kind of trust my knee, to go big on a jump and not guard it and stuff like that, which, guarding it is only worse. It's only going to make you, more susceptible to injury because you're, being awkward trying to protect it. So, thankfully, I'm pretty far out from that surgery, and I'm feeling really confident. Actually, in New Zealand was the first time that I wasn't riding with my brace again, because I am so far out of surgery. And then with my back, I don't really think that I ever think about my back injury, but, the way in which I got hurt from my back was just I messed up on the takeoff. And sometimes, it plays with you a little bit. If you're trying a new trick or it's a difficult jump, you're riding the jump and you're like, oh, like, hope that doesn't happen again. But I think, the more you can just let that go there's really no way to compete in our sport being constantly afraid. I mean, we're going off of such big jumps and you really have to be in the moment. So we do a little bit of, sports psychology. We work with sports psychologists to kind of just make sure that we're all there during training and during competitions.
Cool. That's cool. That's cool to get some insight on how you can prepare and focus for that. I always think there's no way that I would. It's amazing to be able to see how you can do these, how you can compete on that level, especially if you've suffered an injury. It's always incredible to see athletes compete in general, but then to be able to come back from an injury, it's always truly inspiring. I know that holding yourself back can definitely hinder progress. So congrats to you for being able to be out there and pull some definitely cool rides out there. Let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned goals, just getting out there, and of course some really big competition. Do you have any specific goals that you've set? You want to do this first and this first and this first, or are you just out there, you want to take it one step at a time?
Yeah, so we have a 5-event series going into the Olympics. One of the events already happened, and at that event, I was the 4th place American. So since they sent 4 athletes, I am in position to qualify, but, obviously you're looking for you're looking to stay there, and I am on the edge. So going into the next couple of events, I hope that I can just keep up with that, and maybe even, move up through those placements and try to get, a 1st place or a 2nd place, kind of get on the podium. And that way you establish yourself as being really, really competitive at the highest level and someone that they need to take to the team. So I think we have 2 events in December, 2 events in January. And I think right now I'm really focusing on, like I said, getting stronger and, building some of that plyometric energy and just really trying to feel confident in my body. We do a lot of training, like I said, that just gives you some more air awareness and gives you this proprioception, which just means that you know where your body is in the air. You leave and you're very functional, and you know exactly, like, just based on your vision and things like that, the feel, you can control your body and then land a trick or whatever you're trying to do. So just working on that right now, a lot of gym training. Then we have a month in Europe coming up on snow, where I'm hoping to definitely learn some new tricks that are going to make me even more competitive, take me to the next level going into the season. And then right then we start up our qualification series. So like I said, just staying healthy and trying to really set myself up for success in the qualifiers is the most important thing right now.
That's awesome. So I want to talk to you a little bit about Big Air. So you were the first woman ever to win this event entitled Big Air. It was a couple years ago, and Big Air is making its debut as an Olympic event in Pyeongchang in 2018. Just thoughts on the event being debuting at the Olympics?
It's going to be really exciting to see Big Air come out at the Olympics, just because slopestyle is the event they had at the last Olympics. That's the event that I competed in Sochi, and that's kind of the main event. In snowboarding, we have mostly three sides. We have the border cross side, that's an event. We have half pipe, that's an event, and then we have slopestyle athletes. But slopestyle is such a long course, so you're doing tricks up at the top, and no spectators at the bottom get to see it. It's sometimes hard to understand if you don't understand rail tricks, or really like the level of difficulty that's happening in a line of jump tricks versus just one. Versus Big Air is one jump. All the athletes get to hit it 2 times in qualifiers, 3 times in the final, and it's just based on your tricks in one big big air jump. So it's really easy to have a stadium kind of feel. You can have a lot of spectators. That's how it was when I won the World Cup in Turkey. There was like thousands and thousands and thousands of people there, and it's so exciting as an athlete, but then also as a fan. They've had events where they've had a Big Air competition, then they've had concerts going on, so it's just really fun, and it's a really exciting thing to do. And I hope that it gets the spectator viewing and the attention that it deserves, because it's so exciting. So definitely look for that at the Olympics. It's really fun. It's going to be cool to watch. It'll be like watching pretty much a concert, or like, I don't know, Nitro Circus. So it'll be cool for sure.
Exciting. I think a lot of people are really looking forward to it. Let's talk a little bit about your Rhode Island connection, because it's fun. I heard you're a very good student at Brown University. I heard you do pretty well. And you're taking a break from being a student at Brown while you're doing your training, while doing competition. And you're doing something really cool, because I've heard your academics are important to you. Talk to me just a little bit about how you're continuing your education while away from Brown University, what you've been doing.
Yeah, so I left Brown in December when I finished my finals, and I'm taking all of 2017 off. So essentially, the spring semester and then the fall semester. And then ideally I'll go back in the spring after the Olympics. I might miss the first couple weeks of classes because I'll be actually in Korea, but my plan is to go back for sure. And while I was gone, it's kind of difficult because we're traveling all the time, and there's so much training that's involved. So it's sometimes hard to kind of keep up with like what's going on at school and what you're learning about. But I didn't really want that to go completely to waste. So this summer while I was in Park City, I lived there at the team house, and I took a night class, an EMT course, which was just awesome. I learned a lot, and I'm excited. Hopefully I can work for Brown's EMT program when I go back. And then also, while I was training in the gym, I also proposed an internship to work with our dietitians and high performance chefs that work in the Center of Excellence, and they cook for all the athletes and consult with the athletes about their nutrition plans. And so I set up an internship and learned from them all summer. And then now I have a blog called Excellence in the Kitchen. It's at excellenceinthekitchen.com. And basically I share recipes, tips, workouts, and then athlete features where I talk to the athletes about what is their sport, the physical demands of their sport, and then how they train and how do they feel for their training. Like, what's the difference between what they eat on a contest night and what they eat after a long workout. So it's really cool, and it's been a great opportunity for me to kind of talk to the other athletes on the team. I mean, I've been on the team for 7 years, and I talk to people in my sport and people in snowboarding, but I don't get to talk to like the Nordic combined athletes a lot, or the cross country skiers. And just being able to talk to those athletes and like hear about the differences and how they train and how their sport works has been incredible. So it's been a great opportunity. I have a couple of posts up right now, and that's something that I'll run all fall leading into the Olympic qualifiers.
It's really neat, and kudos to you for being able to do that and give people a perspective on what it's like to be an Olympic athlete, how you eat, how you manage to keep up this high level of fitness and nutrition while traveling. I know I was just thinking, how do you manage to stay on a schedule when you're traveling to New Zealand, right? I mean, it's so difficult, and so really interesting, and I'll make sure to put up a link to that on our website as well, because it's really neat, and that recipe you put to those bars looked really good, so I might take you up on that recipe. Yeah, it was good. Let's talk a little bit about just your time in Providence and at Brown. Do you have, what do you like about being in college and having a collegiate lifestyle, or maybe what's something that you like about Providence?
I love the food in Providence. That goes without saying. Federal Hill is pretty amazing. Also, that place, PB Donuts. Like, if I'm ever wanting to, treat myself, then my friends and I go there.
Cool. Yep.
I think it's really cool just kind of getting to interact with the students. My whole life, since I was a little girl, I've been snowboarding and traveling and competing for snowboarding, and the people that I've known have mostly been snowboarders. Even in my hometown, it's been, mountain towns. I live in Stowe, Vermont, so even then, it's a lot of just snowboarders, and I get to meet a lot of people from all over the world, which is great, being able to travel. But at Brown, it's just, you're a normal kid. You get to meet people that they went to high school and now they're here, and they obviously did something really awesome in high school in order to get into a place like Brown. So just kind of hearing about different people, what they've done, what their interests are, and have it be so different from what I'm used to. I have a lot of people who have never seen snow. My freshman roommate was from Mississippi and had never seen snow in her life. So it's pretty cool kind of getting to do something different, and especially for me, having a different focus. Like, I did focus on my academics in high school. Absolutely, I was a straight A student, but now when I'm at school, it's all about academics. I mean, I study all the time. I'm full in. I'm just trying to be the best student I can. So that's kind of interesting, is sort of putting this snowboarding a little bit not on the back burner, but school comes first at Brown, and then snowboarding is second, and mostly I'm in the gym. That's all I can do for snowboarding there. So it's kind of cool just to do something different. It's like a little bit of a Hannah Montana situation. I have my double life.
A little Hannah Montana for you. Well, Ty Walker, it's been so much fun chatting with you, and we wish you the best of luck staying healthy, and really looking forward to seeing how you do in these as you work your way toward the Olympics, and can't wait to see what happens. So